Somewhere near Mecca, 15 girls between the age of 13 and 17 were trampled to death and 52 others were hurt when a blaze swept through their school. The fire was a tragedy that could have struck anywhere. But one sinister detail makes this incident a dreadful tragedy that you cannot forget. Morality police forced girls to stay inside the burning building because they were not wearing headscarves and baya that women must wear in public in that kingdom. One Saudi paper even reported that morality police stopped men who tried to help the girls escaping that burning building, saying it is sinful to approach them. Girls died because zealots at the gate would rather see them burn than appear in a public dress inappropriately. This was 2022. And today, in 2024, Saudi Arabia Kingdom is set to participate in Miss Universe pageant for the first time. Rumi Al Kathahin took to her Instagram on Monday to announce her selection as the representative of Saudi Arabia in this event, sharing images of herself adored in a strapless sequined gown, signaling a significant shift in the country's approach towards women, religion, society, and economy altogether. Women rights in Saudi Arabia is a topic of concern and controversy internationally. In Saudi Arabia, women have constituted a separate category, legally discriminated against and spatially segregated under the Wahhabi religious fundamentalist dominance for decades. Let's take it from the top. It was 18th century when Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab began preaching his revivalist brand of Islam amongst the Bedouins of Najd. His ideas were dismissed in the centers of Islamic learnings until 1744, when Wahhab formed a pact with a local leader, Muhammad bin Saud, a politico-religious alliance that continued for next 150 years, culminating politically with the proclamation of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 1932. Wahhab's literalistic and reductive interpretation of Islam, today known as Wahhabism, has effectively been the state religion and was the main basis for the claims of domestic authority and global Islamic leadership. Wahhabism preached acceptance and obedience of Saudi monarch and thus was kept very close to the state politics. Similarly came the Salafism, which originated in mid to late 19th century as an intellectual movement, but later dismantled the matrilineal family system. In fact, some view Salafi interpretation of Islam as fundamentalist and that these views allow for the subjugation of women. To top it all came the Iranian Revolution or the Islamic Revolution of 1979. This revolution in Iran led to a fundamentalist resurgence in many parts of Islamic world. Fundamentalists tried to repeal westernization and governments defended themselves against the revolution. In Saudi Arabia, fundamentalists occupied the Grand Mosque and demanded a more conservative state, including the end of education of women. The government responded with stricter interpretations and enforcement of Islamic laws. Newspapers were discouraged from publishing images of women. Interior Ministry discouraged women, including the expatriates, from employment. Scholarships for women to study abroad were declined, and wearing bayas in public became mandatory. Since then, a woman in Saudi Arabia couldn't travel without the permission of a male guardian. Whereas men can practice polygamy, woman is not even free to show her face without a veil. Post 2000s, when the world globally is dominated by capitalism, power of money and advent of technology, it seems Saudi Arabia too has given in and is trying to cope up. The efforts of the current crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, seems to be going in direction of the pre-1979 climate, when the government restricted hardline Wahhabi traditions. Few countries have ever undergone the kind of dramatic transformation underway in Saudi Arabia. In just a few years, Crown Prince has thoroughly upended cultural norms, expectations in the kingdom. Now he is rewriting national narrative, sidelining the role of Islam, and emphasizing Saudi nationalism, history, and his royal family. This started with issuing a royal decree designating February 22nd as a national holiday and called it the Foundation Day. This day commemorates the beginning of the reign of Imam Muhammad bin Saud and his foundation of the first Saudi state, which took place, according to the decree, in the February 1727 and not the 1744, which eliminates the alliance of Abul Wahhab completely. Saudi Arabia has decided to try to elevate tourism and entertainment into the second largest sector of the economy after oil. Part of this drive for domestic tourism, an effort to dissuade Saudis and their cash from leaving the country every time they want to enjoy themselves. But it's also a pitch for international non-religious tourism. There's even a speculation that alcohol could be legalized in certain places to promote this industry. Saudi Arabia has faced criticism over its human rights violation, given its use of death penalty, its criminalization of homosexuality, and lack of freedom offered to women. To counter such claims, Saudi prince clearly distances himself from Wahhabism, promotes monotheism, and claims that Saudi Arabia would become very similar to any European developed city in the coming period. To cement his words, first he stripped off all the authority of the feared religious police all over his population. In 2016, women were allowed to drive, travel abroad, attend a concert, and even stand in elections. In 2022, Saudi Arabia banned marriage for those under the age of 18, a decision that was just made in England and Wales in February 2023. They are bidding to host the Women's Football World Cup and is all set to host the Men's Football Tournament in 2034. Let me share an interesting finding here. At the 2023 Women's World Cup, NBC reported at least 87 out LGBTQ players were competing, a figure which was more than the double of 2019 Women's World Cup. Now, whether these players would feel comfortable being in a country where homosexuality is illegal remains a huge question. But also, this might be the indication that Saudi Arabia might be the next nation to embrace homosexuality.